Why do aircraft engines have mixture controls? As an airplane climbs, the air gets thinner and less dense. That makes the fuel-air mixture too rich. The mixture control lets the pilot reduce the amount of fuel to keep the balance just right for a good engine performance. What does an air-fuel mixture ratio of 12:1 mean? It means there are 12 pounds of air mixed with 1 pound of fuel. What's the main purpose of a float carburetor? The float carburetor measures how much air flows into the engine and adds the correct amount of fuel for every condition. It also helps make sure the fuel is vaporized before ignition for smooth combustion. What two things are adjusted when setting the idle on a float carburetor? You adjust the idle speed using the throttle stop screw and the idle mixture using the idle needle valve. What would make an engine hesitate when the throttle is opened quickly? Usually, it's a bad or malfunctioning accelerator pump. How does a pressure-type carburetor work? It sprays fuel into the airstream at a pressure higher than atmospheric. This gives better vaporization and prevents icing. The fuel discharge happens after the throttle valve, where engine heat helps offset temperature drop. It's also steady during sharp maneuvers or turbulence. What are the two types of fuel injection systems used in modern aircraft engines? The Teledyne Continental, or TCM system, and the Precision Air Motive, also known as the Bendix system. How does the TCM fuel injection system control fuel flow? The engine speed controls the injector pump pressure. A relief valve manages fuel for low speeds, and an adjustable orifice manages fuel for high speeds. How does the Precision Air Motive system control fuel flow? Air entering the engine moves a diaphragm that operates a servo ball valve, controlling the fuel flow to the nozzles. What is a FADEC? FADEC stands for Full Authority Digital Engine Control. It's a computer system that manages all fuel and power functions automatically. It prevents over-temperature conditions, smooths out power changes, and communicates with the flight management and engine monitoring systems. Does a FADEC controlled engine need to be manually trimmed? No. The FADEC takes care of trimming automatically. What are the basic principles of a hydromechanical fuel control? It's a purely mechanical system that senses engine parameters like compressor pressure, exhaust temperature, and RPM. Then, through linkages, cams, and servo valves, it meters the right amount of fuel to the engine. What are the two main types of fuel nozzles? Simplex and duplex nozzles. Why does a duplex nozzle need a dual fuel manifold? Because it separates the primary and secondary fuel flows using a flow divider or pressurizing valve. What's the advantage of a duplex nozzle? It produces a good, consistent spray pattern across a wide range of engine pressures. What engine parameters are usually sensed by a turbine engine fuel control? power lever position, compressor, inlet temperature, compressor speed, and burner pressure. What does trimming a turbine engine mean? Trimming means adjusting the fuel control for the specific gravity of the fuel and setting the correct idle and maximum RPM. What are the two types of electronic fuel controls for turbine engines? Supervisory electronic engine control and full authority digital engine control, or FADEC. What position should the fuel control lever be in for engine start? The normal start sequence is: first, rotate the compressor with the starter. Second, turn on ignition. And third, open the engine fuel valve by moving the throttle to idle or using the fuel shutoff lever. What specifications are used when trimming a turbine engine? The manufacturer's data plate specifications, taken from the original factory test cell calibration. Where should ambient temperature be measured during trimming? In a shaded area near the engine inlet. When should a turbine engine be retrimmed? Anytime thrust decreases or after maintenance that requires retrimming. Can the aircraft's regular instruments be used to trim a turbine engine? No. You need a specialized analyzer or trimmer, such as a jet cal unit. Where are fuel strainers usually located? At the outlet of the fuel tank, at the lowest point in the fuel system as the main strainer, and inside the carburetor or fuel injection system. How can you tell if a turbine engine fuel strainer has been bypassed? A red indicator button will pop out to show the bypass condition. What types of fuel heaters are used in jet aircraft? Air-to-fuel and oil-to-fuel heat exchangers. How are fuel lines protected in the engine compartment? They're covered with fire-resistant sleeves to protect against heat and abrasion. What is a ley line on a flexible fuel hose used for? It shows whether the hose has been twisted when installed. What type of boost pump is usually installed inside fuel tanks? Centrifugal pumps. What are the three main functions of a boost pump in jet transport aircraft? First, to pressurize the fuel line between the tank and the engine-driven pump. Second, to transfer fuel between tanks to balance the load. And third, to pump fuel out during fuel dumping. What is a compensated fuel pump? It's a pump that automatically adjusts to outside air pressure, keeping fuel pressure a set amount higher than ambient pressure. What are the two basic types of engine-driven fuel pumps? Constant displacement and non-positive displacement pumps. What are the three common types of valves used in fuel systems? Cone valves, poppet valves, and gate valves. What are the three types of fuel filters? Micron filters, wafer screen filters, and plain screen mesh filters. Why do some filters have a relief valve. So if the filter gets clogged, fuel can still flow to the engine. Where are fuel drains located on aircraft engines? On turbine engines, drain valves are in the combustion chambers to remove unburned fuel after shutdown or a false start. On reciprocating engines, drain valves are in the intake manifold to remove excess fuel after overpriming or a failed start.